Whoa! All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Seance. Thank you to good Austin for actually coming up with that. That's pretty cool, bro. And what the Seance is me. I'm going to be talking to different people that I want to talk to, and whatever I feel like talking about. Usually, anyone my regulars who watches, I'm always doing hardcore metal on the witching hour. None of that tonight because we are interviewing a very cool man, a very nice man, a very inspirational man. And without further ado, let's bring him on. Let's bring on Mr. Mikey Sutton.
How can I top that opening, Necron? I mean, seriously. I mean that is so kick ass. And will we ever see a Batman that kick ass again? You
We
know,
better. We're trying.
we hope so.
We're
Like
trying.
James Gunn sure isn't. But anyway,
No. Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, Brad, thank you for having me on here tonight.
Oh, man,
Um,
my pleasure. My pleasure, bro.
what I love about this show tonight is that you and I are about the same age. And we're gonna go old
hmm
school
We
tonight.
are going old school
Hello,
tonight.
old school. We're old men here. We don't look like it. You don't sound like it, but
We
we've been
definitely
around
don't
the
act
block.
like it.
Hell no, fuck that shit, man. But I've been looking forward to this show, Necron. So
Well, me too. I always been wanting to
great.
pick your brain a little on some of the stuff.
Uh,
So let's get with let's talk about Dreamwalker first.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. A lot of people, that will be listening later or, maybe on replay, not
Mm-hmm.
so much the Still Nation people,
Yeah,
but my regular metalhead
yeah.
listeners. Let's give them a history of Dreamwalker and
Mm-hmm.
where it started. What made you decide, first of all,
Yeah.
to do your own comic, Dreamwalker?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did that
Well,
come from?
the roots to this, and there's a lot of patterns that I'm going to present to you guys. And this feeling of destiny, I wanted to talk about with you next round because it's very strange how all this. So I was thinking about this earlier today. How far does this go back? All the different connections that have arisen from this.
Uh-huh.
Um, as Alan Moore once said, coincidence is the secret thread that ties the world together. And which is one of my favorite lines. I think it's from Phantom Stranger that he did. Yeah, the Phantom Stranger story. I think it's where it's from.
Ooh,
And it
right.
just stuck with me all these decades. And I think about my own life and all the different stuff that seems like coincidence, but I really doubt. I feel there's some kind of destiny, thread of destiny going on in my life. And just when I go back, way back to 1972,
Ooh, that's way back.
way back, right? And so
Yeah.
I told people this on Facebook a few weeks ago, kind of teasing a little bit. I said that my first memory of television was watching the GMA network in the Philippines in 1972. That's my first memory of TV ever. I mean, it's just like I go back and like, what's the first thing I remember from watching TV was the GMA network and a show called Uncle Bob's Lucky Seven. I still remember the show. Um, and it
Okay.
was hosted by the guy, an American, who actually founded the network. GMA Network was founded by an American man who went to the Philippines. I think he married a Filipina, and that's how it all happened. But 72, I saw this show, and it just stuck with me. Like, what is my first memory of TV was GMA? Okay, we fast forward now. Okay,
Okay.
fast forward to 1984. Okay, I'm back in the Philippines. I'm going to high school there. I don't know what to do with my life, dude. I went to the Philippines. For some reason, I had no idea why I went home. Like, I told my mom we were living in Arizona at the time. I said, Mom, I want to go back home. Like, well, why would you want to go back home? I mean, we have a good life here in the States. We were in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. Um, and I said, Mom, I just feel compelled to go home. I don't know why. Don't know why. I just feel like we should go home. And it was the strangest feeling that my whole family was crying because we were leaving. We were going back to the homeland. Why? I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but I
It
forced
was
it.
just a compelling feeling you had.
Dude, I just had this feeling I had to go home. Like I felt
Okay.
all over me, and my family was pretty upset. convinced my mom that we need to go home for some reason, right? I actually had to get rid of my dog, which was one of the most heartbreaking
Oh
things
wow, yeah,
I
that's
ever
rough.
experienced. I had to give a dog to my sister. Had to give it away. She couldn't take care of her own dog. To take care of. It was really heartbreaking, but um, on Nightwing, for some, I just want to bring this up for some reason. I get along with Leos really well. I don't know why. I heard Gemini's get along with Leos very well. Like they're most compatible with Leos. We'll get back to that.
You're a Gemini?
I'm a Gemini. Yeah, are you a Gemini? Oh
No,
shit, no one. Okay.
I'm a Libra, but Geminis are usually trouble.
Like, well, we are trouble. There's just two of us. Is why
That makes sense,
you're,
man.
you're
Love
twins,
it.
So we got two sides. Um, but anyway, in 1984, I went back for some reason, and I
Uh,
discovered a writer named Goldwyn Morales Azul. He was a rock critic.
I think we lost him for a second. He'll be right back. So the story is already sounding interesting.
Am I there? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, you're back now.
yeah. So I randomly discovered a column called the GMA Record Guide, right?
Okay.
In a gossip magazine, a Filipino gossip mag that my mom had bought, and I was just bored. I was just like, "What's this?" I was like flipping through it, and I discovered that there's 2-page column in there written in English, and he was writing about music and stuff. I'm like, "Oh, it's in English," 'cause I had a hard time reading Tagalog back then. I'm like, "Wow, this guy can write really well, right?" So, like, Mom, keep buying this magazine. I'm hooked on this dude. It's just writing is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So I became a big fan of his. Every issue would come out. He would buy one, and I love his movie recommendations, especially. He also recommended a lot of films, and he got me into new wave and post punk, and got me into goth rock. That was how I learned all that stuff. Um, so keep in your brain. His name is GMA. Okay, just keep that in mind. His name is GMA, right? Now, remember I said the first TV I ever watched was a GMA network. Okay, just coincidentally they had the same initials. Okay, that's
That's
just
wild.
coincidence.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember. Okay, I don't want to fast forward yet, but anyway, when I read his column Necron, I said to myself, I want to be a critic. I want to be a
Okay.
writer like this guy. I want to write like him, right? And so that's when I took it. I was writing some reviews back in '82, but when I read his column, I was like, "This is how I want to write," because he had a personal perspective on things. It's kind of snarky. Sounds familiar? But
Yes,
anyway,
yes, it does.
so, um, so I kept reading his stuff. By the time I was in Angeles City at the time, which is a half hour away from, I'm not a couple of hours away from Manila, and he was in Manila. I wrote him a letter. Okay, back in '86. That year should be ring some. You heard me say '86 before. Uh,
86 is an important year.
it's a
Yes.
important year, yeah. So I sent him a letter, and I still have his letter that he wrote to me back in '86. I still kept it. I'll keep it forever. And he said thank you for all the compliments and everything like that. Um, and then when I wrote to him Necron, I had moved to Manila already. I said I'm here in Manila.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and said, "Here's my phone number. If you want to give me a call." And so, like within a day, he called me on my late uncle's house. I was like shocked. I'm like, "Oh my god, GMA is calling me!" Like, I was totally freaking out, like total
Of course.
like
Yeah.
fanboy. My mentor, my
Yeah.
idol, was writing to me, right? Um, so dude, we were
The heart
talking.
pumping and all
Oh
that type
god,
of
man, I
yeah.
was like, what
Nervous
was
and
I? I was 16, 17.
oh, yeah, and at
Oh,
that age too, it's
oh
even,
my
like,
god, dude, that
more
was
intense, yeah.
like my idol was calling me on the phone, and he
Nice.
goes, "Remember him telling, hey, we're friends, right?" I said, "Hell yeah, we're friends,"
Yeah, you know
So,
it, bro.
of course, man. And so we started talking to each other about 3 hours a day, about music, about taught me about girls, but he became my mentor, right?
Nice.
Um, and so it was in '87, and then um, I told him that I want to become a writer because of you, because of your writing and everything. There's a lot of emotions in your writing. It's different than other rock critics. And I was telling him my story ideas. Even back then, I had story ideas based on songs that I was hearing, like the Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. I had which will become a story later on. Um,
Oh, okay.
but anyway, he taught me everything about writing. He said, "Pay your dues, don't burn bridges." All these things that I till now I keep those lessons in my heart. Um, and I'll never forget what he told me. 'Cause I left Philippines in '87. I'll never forget what he told me before I left. He said, "You're going to become famous one day." I'm not just saying that, I just know it because you have raw talent and I see it. And he goes, and to prove it to you that I see it, I'm going to publish you. And he, the first person to publish me at the age of 19. Actually, no, eight. I wasn't even 19. I was eight. I was still 18 at the time. He published two reviews of mine, and the films are from '86, which one was Maximum Overdrive and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They were the first two movies I reviewed. Um, but yeah, I'll never forget what he said. One day you'll become famous. And he goes,
And to hear that from like someone you really respect,
"Oh my God, you my
that sticks with you.
idol. Oh,
Yeah,
I stick
yeah,
with you."
yeah.
And he goes, "And I really mean that, but just," he said, "never give up. No matter what you do, never give up. Absolutely never give up." Like, okay, I won't, I won't. Um, so I went to Washington State in '87, and at the airport, Necron, I picked up an issue of the Rocket, which had Soundgarden on the cover. So my
Oh,
first day in Seattle, I found out about the grunge scene. First day, dude. It was like, oh,
that's
what's
great.
this? Like
Yeah.
Soundgarden. Who are these guys? And so
In '87.
87,
All right, so
way,
we're
way back,
literally right before it broke.
right before it broke.
Yeah.
And I think they had Screaming Life EP, I think it was, that came out at the time. Um, and that same issue, I think, had the Butthole Surfers in there, like all this alternative stuff that was coming out from the U.S. I was very familiar with the British stuff, like Joy Division, The Cure, and all that.
Sure.
Sisters of
Yeah.
Mercy. I wasn't familiar with the U.S. stuff. Um, but the first time he published me just changed my life, man. I was like, oh my God, I'm a star. He published me. Um, and I just remember before I left the Philippines, Necron, I was looking at the stars,
Uh-huh.
saying, "One day I'll be somebody. One day." And it's kind of like a send a message to the universe type of thing because I was looking at the stars and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
like talking into the night, almost like
exactly,
speaking it into existence.
exactly right. And I had no idea
Yeah.
how long it would take. But his words stuck with me. Never give up. Don't give a shit what others say about you. Things like that.
Yeah, because that's
Uh,
the type of stuff that will bring you down. If you
oh yeah,
concentrate on
exactly.
the people who are trying to bring you down, they will bring you down.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so I had all that insight when I came over here to the U.S. And we're gonna fast forward a little bit here. So I got involved in the Seattle scene. I was covering the Seattle scene around '88, '89. I was covering all this stuff that was coming out. I almost met Nirvana. Um, I was assigned to interview them, but I didn't have a car,
Oh no.
so I didn't get a chance to interview them. Not only that, one of the biggest regrets of my life was a friend of mine had tickets to see Nirvana in Tacoma, and no one knew who they were. They didn't even their Bleach hadn't come out yet, right? Um, in fact, they weren't even called Nirvana. I think they were just that was the first gig they played when they were called Nirvana. I missed it.
Oh no.
I could have because they were called Skid Row before that.
And well, we obviously know why they probably
Well, yeah,
changed
exactly.
that
I
name.
changed it,
Yeah.
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 But I missed Nirvana's show as Nirvana.
Their
Um,
first show, that would have been legendary.
I was legendary, right? And
Yeah.
so I could have met Kurt back then, but I was covering the grunge scene. Now flash forward to '91. Okay, here's where Dreamwalker starts to take shape. Okay, um,
91. Okay.
yeah, like keep in mind that I had a mentor named GMA, and the first network TV I ever saw was GMA. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, because there's a test afterwards. So just kidding. So 91. I heard a song called Submarine Song by the Candy Skins. It was an alternative rock song. It's 120 minutes. I actually taped the video before I even saw before I even heard the song. It just sounded cool. Like, oh, Candy Skins. So hit record, you know. Um, there's one line in the song that crunk that just stuck with me, and
Okay,
the
what?
rest of the song had nothing to do with the line. Like, unfortunately, but that line was so damn cool, and the line was, "But I walked through your dreams," and I'm
There you go. Mm.
like, whoa, that is a cool power to have. I'm thinking like a superhero. Like, that's a cool power to have, right? But I walk through your dreams. Like, can you imagine like having the power to walk through someone's dreams? I'm like, it's just so badass, right? And I remember
Yeah,
telling this girl I knew back then, I said, look, you might not like the song, but think of that line. That line is so cool. She goes, that is a great line, you know? Um, and so I still have that videotape where I recorded that. That's historical now. Um,
it sure
fast,
is. It's a
fast
magic
forward.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Fast forward again. Okay. Like, I'm skipping a bunch of stuff here because I want to stick with Dreamwalker. Um, so I never wrote that story, Necron. I never wrote a Dreamwalker story with that power to walk through people's dreams was still in my mind. Now, back then, I had issues writing stories. I wrote a few that were very dark and disturbing. One was called Cadaver Girls, which I might adapt into a comic book. I don't know if nobody's going to want to draw it though. It's like, oh, this is a true story. I gotta share this as a true story. Cadaver Girls was so disturbing. I got rejected by a necrophilia magazine. They refused.
What?
They refused to publish it. Like, like I got this letter somewhere in my closet. I still have this letter from them, rejection letter. Um, they
Good
said
Lord, I got
this
rejected.
get rejected by. How do you get rejected by a necrophilia magazine, right?
You crossed the line, Mikey said.
You cross the line, right? And so I got this letter and said, "You don't understand. We are a pro necrophilia magazine. This story is disgusting."
Whoa. Okay, guys. That want to offend your moral ground.
I'm offending necrophilia. They're necrophiliacs. You
You're
thought
making us
story time was bad.
necrophiliacs look bad.
So, for those who don't know what necrophilia is, it's about people who have sex with dead people. Okay,
Yes.
or, or
Listen to the Slayer song Necrophiliac. It'll give you a good
there you go. And so
description of what you need to know.
and so they said the ending was so disturbing. He might not even sleep tonight because it
Oh, God.
bothered him so much. Like, this is really depressing. It's disturbing. Like, please don't submit stuff to us anymore, right?
You
And
ruined our staff.
yeah, exactly. That that was also in '91. That was actually finished the story at Halloween 1991. Um, I was listening to Season Parties by Bauhaus when I finished it. I remember that. Um, and so I think I'll give you guys a little what it's about. Um, it's about in the future they ban strippers. Um, so these horny dudes would dig up corpses and make them dance on stage because they couldn't use live strippers. It's like it's very disturbing, very disturbing. But it
So
gets
were they
worse.
okay? Were they
they,
like puppets or something?
they are
Or how
puppets, exactly. They're like puppets. They're strung on.
okay, got it.
They can move up and down and stuff. And so it was really creepy. Um, And so, anyway, they rejected it. They no, they were not going to publish it. And I was desperately trying to get published that run. I was reading a lot of short stories back then. Um, one of my favorite writers was Richard Christian Matheson, who's the son of Richard Matheson, the incredible Shrinking Man. Um,
Oh
and I
damn.
Am Legend. I Am Legend as well. That his father did. Um, and so I got rejected by that, and I kept sending it to other places, right? So, really funny story here. I had a writer friend who got published in this magazine, right? I knew he was writing horror stuff, so I was like, okay, maybe I can send stuff to them as well, right? And I never
Okay.
magazine that much. I had no idea what they were, but I just got their address, and okay, they sent them Cadaver Girls. Oh, I got this really offended letter back. He goes, "We are a family lifestyle magazine. Like, We believe in like Norman Rockwell and things like that. This is violent and disgusting.
You were just too ahead of
I
everyone.
was there, everybody, right? And so
Yeah, because
they said we will not read your letters anymore and so on. So they were really offended, right?
oh
Um,
man, that's
so
great.
the early '90s were a weird time, man. Like I got a letter from Hustler magazine wanting me to write for them. Anyway, it's so their matter entirely. Um, but so Cadaver Girls didn't go anywhere. I still have it in my file somewhere. But in the back of my mind was that song by Submarine, that Submarine song was still in the back of my mind.
Yeah,
Um,
I walk through your dreams is
yeah,
mine.
yeah. So again, years and years pass by. This story is not written. Okay. Um, I met Noel Leon Flores, who's now my artist. Um, I because of a scoop, I scooped Voltus Five Legacy, which is a live action version of the anime from the '70s. And the studio that was doing it was a GMA network. It happens to be uh, the first TV I ever saw, right? So Noel emails me. He sends me a Facebook message, and he goes, "Hey, Noel is a troublemaker, right? He leaks stuff, right? So he leaked me the concept art to
Oh,
Voltus
okay.
5. He goes, hey, by the way, secret between us, I can confirm that you were right about the scoop. There is a Voltus 5 show that they're working on. Because I got a little bit of flack. People trying to debunk it, like there's no Voltus 5. We're not. You know now they are. So
Yeah,
Noel sent me his concept art for Voltus 5. I kid you not. He goes, don't share it with anybody. But here it is. It's
scoop
real,
confirmed. Yeah,
confirmed, right?
yeah.
And he told me that he liked my scoops and everything, and would I be interested in ever working with him on a project like an MCU type project is what he was looking for. And I said, yeah, okay. I mean, and I had no idea who he was. I mean, I knew he did art for the show. I didn't know how big it was or anything. I mean, I had no idea. Um, so I said, okay, I'll write a script and we can go from there, right? And I thought of that idea of walking through dreams, Necron. And so Dreamwalker started as a Japanese style shoujo comedy. And and Dreamwalker was this mischievous girl, kind of like Dennis the Menace, who would enter people's dreams and steal stuff for her enjoyment and then troll them. I mean, she
Oh,
would
troll
steal.
them
Oh
afterwards.
yeah, she would troll
Oh,
like just a lot of. She would steal like jewelry and stuff. I mean, it was supposed to be a comedy. It just wasn't funny. It just wasn't clicking whatsoever.
yeah.
And at the time, Necron, my brain was wired a different way. I was more analytical. I was doing a lot of reviews, and it was tough to write stories. I mean, I wrote Cadaver Girls, but beyond that, I had a hard time writing anything. Because my
Can
brain
I
was
can
like,
I can I make
yeah,
a point with that?
sure, yeah,
Because
go ahead,
I sometimes wonder too, like when you read some reviews from people who aren't creative,
yeah,
they sometimes when you, I'm going to take my own personal experience, not
yeah,
they don't get the music you're writing, and you can tell by reading the review.
yeah, yeah,
They're just like very when it comes to music, meat and potatoes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They're not creative.
yep,
So you want to yell at them, go, you don't even understand it. But I'm sure most
mm,
musicians or anybody creative receives
mm-hmm,
some criticism, and we kind of think that anyway. But still, I think I know what you're talking about, because you could tell like a lot of them want to be creative,
yeah,
and maybe
yeah,
that's why they're into like reviewing movies or albums or whatever. But
mm-hmm.
they just haven't had that creative spark to really be creative, I suppose.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly true. And I noticed a lot of critics like very dull stuff. They like very normal, bland stuff, and just like
Mhm.
and I got really bored by all of that. But a lot of critics hate metal, and the critics don't like gothic rock either. I mean, if you notice, it's a very creative genre, so you can't stand them. But if some singer songwriter, puts out an album of acoustic ballads, you're like, oh wow, it's brilliant.
And it's like the most boringest shit you
Most
ever
boring
heard.
shit. Yeah, exactly. You're putting to
There's
sleep, right?
Yeah, there's no excitement in it. No.
Nothing. No excitement. Nothing cool about the words or anything. Um, But yeah, but you know, I tried, man. I tried, and I was so embarrassed to Noel, like telling him, dude, you know, and I really want to, really, I love his art. I really wanted to work with him, but that story was not working at all. Um, flash, flash forward to 2018 September. I had a stroke. Okay, it was a almost lethal stroke. I was an hour away
Very
from
serious
dying.
stuff.
Very
Yeah.
serious. I collapsed. You know,
Oh my God, dude.
couldn't move my hands, couldn't move my arms, legs, and I couldn't get to the phone to call 911. Okay, 'cause I couldn't move. My mom wasn't home. There was nobody home. Okay.
Okay, so that's even scarier.
Yeah, exactly. I could move my right hand, and I wanted to pick up something and throw it against the window to smash it to get somebody's attention. Cause I was
Sure.
screaming and no one could hear me.
Oh man,
But no,
that's brutal,
nothing,
Mikey.
nothing. And my mom came home 3 hours later, and she called 911. And I get to the emergency room, and I didn't know what's going on. I knew I knew I had a stroke. I knew that for a fact. I was about 400 pounds back then. Um,
Whoa,
yeah, I
that's
was really
unhealthy. Yeah,
really heavy. Yeah,
yeah.
and so I do remember this this nurse. I just call her the nurse of death. She came up to me and said, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die tonight. You want me to call you a priest, and you
Oh
want
my.
to tell your family to get your affairs in order, and say goodbye?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, lady? You know, like, I'm not gonna die. No, I'm
I
not.
ain't dying tonight. You may
No,
think
hell
I am.
no, no
Yeah.
way." You know, and so I kept looking at the blood pressure monitor behind me. My blood pressure was sky high, which is why I had a stroke. And I was like waiting for it to go down. And hour by hour, man. I remember that scene, the thing with the blood test. That's how it felt like, that kind of tension. Um, when you don't know what's gonna happen next. Um, and so, but I never saw that nurse again ever. I never saw her again. That was it. It was weird. Um, I guess like the Grim Reaper or something. Um,
Yeah.
so any you sevens, you're hilarious. Um, so my blood pressure went down, and the next morning, my doctor, real doctor, came by and gave me some pretty bad news as well. Yeah, I live, but you may never write again ever because you can't use both hands.
And
You
that's
might,
your livelihood.
yeah, exactly. You
I
might not
mean,
walk.
like what?
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine that? Like, let's say you're a singer, you can't sing anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or
and
you can't
so,
play guitar anymore.
exactly
You
right.
can't type anymore.
Nothing,
That's a
and
horrible
like a
diagnosis
horrible
there.
life, yeah. And so, um, and he goes, well, we're gonna put you through rehab, but we don't know how effective it'll be. You're gonna have to work very hard to regain your abilities. Yeah, it's muscle memory is what it is. You have to lose a lot of weight. That's one thing as well. And so the next day, immediately, I was thrown into physical therapy. Um, and I had a hard time. I mean, they had to move my arms and stuff, and just
Uh-huh.
slowly start rehabilitating. Um, Eventually, like a long story short, I started walking again. I remember one night I was home, and I had a walker to push around. I went in the living room and I realized I had no walker with me to actually walk there on my own. Like muscle memory kicked in. And it totally freaked me out. I thought I was
Oh,
gonna fall. I thought I was gonna fall, dude. And I was like,
that's kind of
oh
wild. But like
yeah.
you didn't realize it till you were doing it.
No, I didn't realize until I was drinking some water in the kitchen. I'm like, where's my walker? Holy crap, I walked here on my own, right? So
Thanks for looking up. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so that same week, Necron, I was walking back and forth to the living room, exercising. And then that's when my mom was watching a Filipino soap opera called Onanay, which is about a woman with dwarfism who gets raped, and her daughter is Kate Valdez.
Oh, wow.
And so, first time I saw Kate Valdez, I just really just like, who is this? Like,
Hmm.
um, beautiful woman, and her beauty I thought was unlike any other I've seen on television. She kind of I realized years later, Nick Ron, she's kind of reminded me of a Filipina Brooke Shields. Um,
I can go
can
along
you
with
see
that.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Especially with the hair and everything. And so, I was like, "Who's this girl?" And so after I watched the show, I looked her up. Oh, it's Kate Valdez, and I posted her picture on Facebook. And when I posted her picture in that run, I quoted the cult. She sold Sanctuary. The sparkle in her
Great
eyes keeps
song.
me alive. Yeah, from '86. So
Yeah.
there you go. And the other weird part is, years and years later, the acting department that she's in was changed to Sparkle Artist Center.
Okay.
That nothing to do with my post, but I just think I had used the word sparkle in my post. That if people see it now, oh, it's a reference to Sparkle. No, this was years before Sparkle. But um, so I posted her photo on my Facebook, and I put a screenshot on my Facebook a few days ago, and the person who commented was Noel Leon Flores. Okay,
And you haven't spoken to him about any of this,
no, none of this,
like
right?
this is all
Yeah,
just happening, as you would
it's
say.
happening in real time.
Yeah.
And so he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I know her. I know her." And so he messaged me. He goes, "Hey, do you want to interview Kate Valdez?" I said, "Yeah, how can I?" So he gave me the contact number of her handler.
Here's a little pic
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Kate
Kate
Valdez.
Valdez.
If you,
Yeah.
mhm.
And so I talked to her handler, and she said, "Yeah, I'd like to interview Kate for a website I had back then called Paper Cut." Sounds familiar, right? Because
Paper
still
cut.
not use it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a deep cut for
Deep
paper
cut
cuts.
there, paper
Mhm.
cuts. Um, and so I interviewed Kate, and I thought, when you interview somebody, a celebrity or whatnot, you interview them, and life goes on, right? You don't hear from them again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it
but
just happens. Yeah.
it happens, and
Hmm.
but I really enjoyed, talking to Kate. And I thought, well, it'd be cool, if we, kept talking, and sure enough, we did. I mean, she befriended me online afterwards, and we started talking more and more. Um, at the same time, I'm thinking about Dreamwalker. Like, what am I going to do with this story that can't even write it? Now I can write again, right? I mean, I've been given this opportunity to use my hands again.
How fast was your recovery starting? Like once you walked,
Hmm.
was other things just starting to fall in place quicker? Like
Yeah,
was your
I
body
see.
recovering?
About 3 months, I think. Like September is when I had my stroke. By November, I was walking. Um, and so I met Kate late November, and yeah, so I was walking 2 months probably. But it's hard work though. I was putting in hours every day of physical therapy to do this. Um, but one day I was talking to Kate, and she said, "Have you seen the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix?" It's
A retro.
hey,
Retro
Retro no
girl
girl.
just popped up.
Oh
Woo.
yeah, she's in issue 3. But anyway, uh, and so um, I I was thinking about Dreamwalker again, and then I was watching Sabrina on Netflix, and I was like, "This is a demonic show. It's
It's
dark and
really good. I
it's
wouldn't
it's
expect it to
yeah,
be, and that's why I watched it too.
yeah, it's great. It's
And I was like,
great.
I fucking love this shit. This is
Like, geez.
great.
And like
Yeah.
Kate's recommending me this. I'm like, you know, it's, she says you'll love it. Oh yeah, I did love it. And so I'm watching this show, and I'm like, why am I writing a comedy when the horror is my natural element, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I changed Dreamwalker from a comedy to horror. I wrote the script that I had been trying to write for 2 years. I wrote it in a week. Issue 1 was written in a week, and
And a week.
in a week it was done. And Noel was surprised. I'm like, "How long you been working on this?" I said, "Well, this is a new version of it. I went horror on this because Kate was telling me
And
about
what was
something."
Noel's reaction of the change of direction?
Well, he was happy because he'd been waiting this whole time, but he was working on Voltus 5 when I sent him the script. Um, but honestly, Necron, I had no publisher. Okay,
Yeah.
I had no name. No one really knew who I was. I was just like some dude on Facebook. I had dropped some scoops that became real, like Spider-Man going to Disney, part of that deal. Spider-Man and Civil War was mine. Black Panther and Civil War was mine. Fox Disney was mine. But I was just a good guy on Facebook, right? And I did not want to be a scooper at all. That was just not my thing. It was for fun.
You just like
Um,
giving out the info, but it
yeah,
wasn't like, "I'm not making a career of this,"
no,
or
I like being a
"Wasn't my
trouble.
plan."
I like being a troublemaker and leaking stuff, right?
Ruining the surprise.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I had no intention of any of that. So I worried a little bit, like, okay, if this comic book comes out, I find a publisher, who's gonna buy it? No one knows who I am. Like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it, you know? That's how I've always been. Never think about the outcome. Just follow your heart and do it. Because you can't control the outcome, you can't
You
predict the
can't.
outcome.
You
So
gotta
why
roll
do
the
you
dice
you roll
sometimes,
that
man.
exactly?
Yeah,
So
you
why
can't
do you let that stop
play it
you?
safe.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
It's like what did Lemmy say? "I don't wanna live forever," you know? That's
Yeah.
not the way I like it, baby. I don't wanna live forever. Win or
Mhm.
lose, that's
Yeah.
the way I like it, baby. I don't wanna live forever. So you gotta roll the dice, man. Just kinda
Got
remember
to.
it off the top of my head there. Sorry.
Otherwise, you're stuck in your asshole your whole life. You don't get anywhere, right?
Well, that's not a guarantee, so I
Uh,
better not. Well, guess what? All right, I'm sorry.
Well,
Continue, my friend.
well, you know what? You know, Necron, my philosophy is if you don't do anything, you've already failed, right? So,
That's true.
yeah, that's how I felt. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna have Noel draw this, and Noel drew it for free. He just wanted to be part of this thing, and so I told Noel, can you draw her like Kate Valdez? Because at the time she was really inspiring me at the time, because my character had no face. I had no idea what this character looked like until I met Kate. I'm like, you're her. You're my character.
Yeah.
Um, and the more I talked with her, the more I really wanted this character to be her. So I named her Cat after Kate. So when
And
Noel,
that works so good too, by the
oh, it's
way.
perfect. It's a perfect name for her and
Let,
everything.
let me show a pic so
Yeah, there
people
you
can
go.
see,
Yeah,
her,
the real thing on the left, right there. Yeah.
and then the artist version. So just so people who don't know, these pictures were taken after the art was already done. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's how good Noel is
yeah.
doing this.
Captured her perfectly, and it took Noel a year to draw because he was doing both his five at the same time, and me, I was just doing nothing really, um, and then okay, here's when things get to get really weird, right? So August 2019, I think it was the 22nd, I believe. I
Wow.
got this phone call in the middle of the night. Said, "Hey man, bad news. I heard that Disney and Marvel had a falling out, and Tom Holland was leaving the MCU." Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
remember that. Everybody was
yeah,
panicking.
yeah, and this was the day before the broken deadline, and my Sony insider said, "Hey, do you want to write about this?" I said, "I'm not a public scooper, dude. I mean, once in a while I do. This is terrible news. You know what I mean?" Um, and I'm like, "No, thanks, but thanks for letting me know." Okay. Then I look at the date. The Philippines one day ahead of here, and I realized tomorrow would have been Kate Valdez's birthday. And I'm like,
Wow.
shit, what a horrible news for her to wake up to. She's a big fan of Tom Holland, big fan of Spider Man. I'm like, imagine waking up in the morning, like, oh, Tom Holland's no longer with the MCU. Like, well, fuck this. That's terrible news.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, it would suck, right? So I
Especially
started
a big
texting
fan.
people, is this true? I texted some people at Marvel Studios, is this true? This is really happening? And um, this one guy messaged me, Necron, and said, no, this is just Sony trying to get leverage. They're trying to get public sympathy on their side. Give me a call tomorrow, and I'll fill you in. Like, okay.
Okay.
So the next day, I talked to him. He told me the whole story about Sony's trying to get a better deal. They're not going to leave this deal, but they want to get leverage, right? This is how they're trying to get public sympathy. Like, oh, it's Marvel's fault. It's not our fault. You gotta, they gotta sign this deal now. And Sony's like, all the doors closed and all this other stuff. And I'm like, so I put the story out in public, Necron, because of Kate. It was her birthday, and I wanted her to read this.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I had no intention of becoming a famous scoop or anything. This was going to be private. I was going to private the scoop. Just a small group of people. Hey guys, don't worry about it. No big deal. But now that she's in my life and she's going to read this, I'm like, no, I want her to see this. I want her to see this before she reads deadline or whatever it is out there. Because the news was going to spread really quickly, right? Um, so innocently, I posted on my Facebook a picture of Tom Holland and not expecting anything but her reading it, right? So I shut my computer off and I was like, okay, it's very early in the morning in the Philippines still. I doubt she's waking up yet, so she probably hasn't read anything yet. So I'm just gonna shut off my computer and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So I turn on my computer an hour later, and there's like 500 shares or some shit like that. I'm like, keep in mind, I only had 1,000 friends back then, and like, and I was like, what's going
That's
on?
huge. Like, well,
I was
yeah,
like,
like what the
what's going
hell?
on? And
You were going viral.
yeah, I was going viral for the first time, and
And this is on Facebook,
on Facebook, all Facebook, and so
which I think it's kind of harder to go viral on Facebook than other.
it is
Yeah,
viral.
it seems like it is. Yeah.
But apparently, what happened was somebody and some other social media platform, Spider-Man fan, obviously, um, went through Facebook and saw my track record that I was hidden from view. Well, not hidden. It was there was some stuff that was public, but I had a small following, so no one covered it, right?
Yeah.
So this guy, well, for some reason, he found that I was the first person to scoop Spider-Man in the MCU. He's like, oh my god, this Mikey guy knows his stuff, right? Um, so he puts it out, and everybody's flocking to my page, right, and sharing and everything, and it just went nuts, right? And I'm thinking it wasn't for you guys, like okay, sure, um,
So
and
this is all tying together.
all tying
Like,
together in
yes.
24 hours. Okay, so Kate liked my post. Okay, she read. Thank God she read it. Um, the next day, that's all I cared about at the time. I wasn't thinking about becoming Mr. Scooper, Supreme, whatever. I just didn't care. I had a job. That's all. Like, can you make money off scooping? I don't
You
know.
just said want to see Kate disappointed on her birthday.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Okay. Um,
Good intentions.
good intentions, right? So,
Hmm.
in 24 hours, Necron, I was on the front page of Yahoo News. Okay.
Whoa.
Imagine my shock. I'm on Yahoo doing a search, and I see
That's
Tom
wild.
Holland's face, and I see, well, Mikey Sutton on Facebook. Like, what the hell is this?
What is going on here?
What's going on here? It's not my intention. And I'm like, I realize, oh my god, I'm getting my 15 minutes of fame now. I wasn't even trying. I didn't want to try. That's not my goal. Um, so that that Facebook post led to Geekosity. There would be no Geekosity without that post. Okay, I wouldn't have met a lot of people if it wasn't for that. If I did not make the decision to go public, and it was all because of Kate. I went public with
Can you
it.
imagine?
You can
Like,
imagine, imagine,
wow.
imagine, life is a game of inches, brother. If I had not done that, you and I would be talking right now. Because
Yeah.
I would have gotten the center cut scoop years later, right? Or months later, actually. Um,
Yeah. That's true.
and so there was somebody who saw my post, okay? Because I was getting a lot of friend requests, Necron, and I wasn't even looking at who was adding me. Just like, okay, sure, I'll add you, whatever.
Yeah. You're just being cool. Like, all right,
Being cool
cool.
about yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until months later, one of the people that sent me a friend request because of the scoop was the president of the studio who optioned my comic book. Okay,
What are the odds?
so
But in the Mikey verse, it kind of makes sense.
it makes sense in my universe. So,
Yes.
um, months later, Noel well, he's starting to draw the comic book, right? I said, "Can you show me something?" And he's like, "Yeah, here's my first illustration of Kate as Dreamwalker." So I posted on Facebook. Immediately, GMA Network. Here we go again. GMA Network from like the first TV I ever saw did an article on it from a single Facebook post. Um, like this scooper, um, and so while this Dreamwalker is all of a sudden getting all this attention right away, like the comics not even finished yet. No publisher, nothing. Like GMA Network did an article on it
So
already.
they're announcing this,
They're not saying it already, yeah.
and you're like, "Well, I don't even have a publisher
Okay.
yet, or
They
how's
get
this
no
going to get?"
publisher or nothing. Um,
Yeah.
and so, and it's funny because, Noel Leon Flores also works for GMA. So, and Kate Valdez, a GMA actress. Okay, this whole GMA thing is getting kind of trippy, right? All this GMA references. Um, so I did the article, and then I get a message on Necron from this guy, and he goes, "Hey, I've been following you since Spider-Man. Okay, obviously Spider-Gate, right? Um,
Okay. Yes. Spidergate.
when you finish your comic book, well, first of all, what's your comic book about?" I said about the Filipino can walk through people's dreams, and she steals objects from them to fight, Filipino monsters. And he goes, "Wow, that's a cool idea," and so on and so forth. Can you share with me the files when the comic book is out? I said, "Sure, sure, that's fine." No idea who this was, right? Like, okay, cool.
You're just
Um,
thinking you're talking to some fan,
some
kind of
fan,
maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
fan. Because I went to his page, I didn't see anything there that Um, so he okay when as Noel progressed, he kept sending me more and more illustrations, right? So I sent I posted another illustration, and this guy emailed me, messaged me again. He goes, "Wow, that looks great." Um, by
The
the way, let me
art
get.
is. I'm showing art as you're talking because
Oh
it's
yeah,
stunning.
yeah, yeah, I love his art. Um, and he goes, by the way, I'm the president of 108 Media, and I'm like, oh, a studio. Um, had no idea. And okay, now again, it gets weird again because when I was writing Dreamwalker Necron, I was looking for an old Filipino film I saw back in the day called Shake, Rattle, and Roll.
Okay.
And I was looking for an influence, a Filipino horror influence, like how I would develop the tone of this book, right? On Netflix, randomly, I was looking for Filipino horror. I found one called Eerie. Okay, um,
Oh yes.
yeah, by directed by McElred, and I'm like, what a cool movie. And that's the
I
tone
believe
of
it's still
Dream.
on
It's
Netflix if
still
anybody
on
wants to
Netflix,
watch
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and the tone of Dreamwalker came from Eerie, like somber, atmospheric tone. It came from Eerie. In fact, issue 2 is a tribute to that film. Um, so
Like this awesome scene.
there you go, exactly. Um, so all this time, Eerie was on my mind and influencing the book and everything. So and I had no idea. We'll fast forward to that later. Um, so anyway, the president's like, yeah, okay, this is great. And my heart's starting to beat fast in that ground. 'Cause I'm thinking, why is the studio president like messaging me? Could this be
The
what I think it
president.
is? The
Yeah.
president
Usually.
himself,
Yeah.
the head. Like, can you
Usually,
imagine? Even
talking
Feige
to someone
contacting
else.
you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so my heart was beating fast. Dude, like I've been in the business long enough. This
So
guy's
you
want to
kind of have an idea of what's
I
going
like.
on,
Is
but
he gonna option my work? Is that what he's after? Is that what he wants? But okay, so Noel gets the book done, and we published it last year, a year ago, February, Valentine's Day. Um, you got
right
it.
here.
There you go. That's original. That's rare
And
now, man. Super rare.
you guys did this yourself, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
obviously independent, Second
Yep,
Skin Comics.
yep.
Well, let's get into that story. I'm sorry, keep going.
There's some partners with me who actually paid for that issue. 'Cause I could that's Natalie Sanders. So okay, a little weird trivia there. No, you got to. Oh my god, that is really expensive. It's still around?
Hey, I should have got it at cover price. That's all I'm gonna say. But I
That's
got it
hilarious.
before the announcement. I was like, oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta get it before because
So
I'll be out
a
of
little weird
luck.
trivia with that Necron is that Noel is a big fan of Bernie Wrightson.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, if you're in
and
the comics, who
yeah,
isn't?
exactly. And Nellie Sanders had no idea when she paid homage to Bernie Wrightson with her cover that Noel is idol is Bernie Wrightson. So it's a weird coincidence that she chose the first appearance of Swamp Thing to pay
Yeah,
tribute to. You know?
because in the Swamp Thing, it's the Swamp Thing coming through the
Yeah,
door. And
that is a very I have about 10 copies of that, by the way. That's impressive. It's
we
great.
we could build hopefully buy a car with these one day.
Exactly right. And so I sent him the digital files to Dreamwalker 1. Um, my heart was beating because I think I know what this was going to be, but I had faith in the book that I think that's what made my heart beat the most, Necron, is that I knew I had a great book. And not just because of me, but because of Noel's art is just fantastic.
You're confident in it.
I was
I
confident.
mean, look at the art; it's awesome.
Oh, that's Bernie Wrightson all the way, by the way. Look at that style there.
I
I
like
told
it too because it has that 70s, 80s kind of
very much so.
approach to
Eh,
comic art. I don't like how they kind of draw comics now. It's not
mhm.
very
No, it's not.
it's just kind of factory-ish, I guess is what I'm
Very
gonna
much
say.
so, like machine like.
Yeah.
Because I told Noel I said bring out your Bernie Wrightson, and I told them to light it up like Netflix. That's what I told him with the look of the book. He said it looks like a streaming show. He reads a comic book. So I sent the guy the digital files, and he sends me a message like a week or so later, and he goes, hold. He said, he says, I really, really like the book. Can you? I'm gonna have my producer contact you. And my heart starts to beat really, really fast by that time, right?
Oh
Um,
man, they're like, what is going on? Is this
exactly,
going where
right?
I hope it is? Yeah, I can imagine.
Exactly. Um, so anyway, he says my producer's gonna contact you, and okay. So we schedule a time with the producer, do a Zoom conference. Um, and so I'm talking with the producer, and she goes, "I want to introduce myself to let you know what kind of work I've done." Okay, because I'm the producer of Eerie. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So that movie influenced Dreamwalker. How is this possible? You
You're
know?
like, that literally influenced my comic.
Yeah.
What are the and again, what are the odds? This is like it's aligning on for some reason.
Oh yeah, and she said like, "Oh, small world." Like, small world. Oh my god, this is bizarre. Um, she goes, "Reason why I want to talk to you, you want to option your book." Like, okay, there it goes. The shoe drop, right there, right? Um, and we're
On
gonna
the first issue, mind
first
you.
issue. Keep in mind, guys. I
First
know
issue, not
people
20, 30 issues
no
in.
first issue. And keep in mind, guys, people, I know that the narrative right now is that for 2 issues. Well, no, I got the call in the first issue. Oh, and
First issue,
yeah.
amazing.
So it says we're gonna send you the contract. What great, you know. And then 2 days later, I hear a ping on my email, and it says contract. I'm like, oh my god, here it is, right? And I'm totally freaking out. You know, like what's in here? You know, should I read it now? You know, it was like two or three in the morning. Um, I look at it like, wow, this is a good contract. You know,
Hey, all right. I mean, that's great. That's
yeah,
great. That's what you want to see
yeah.
in a contract.
And so I show it to an attorney. Goes, you're an idiot if you don't sign this. Is what I was told. Sign it. Okay. So I signed it.
That was
Um,
smart to take it to an attorney too.
yeah. And so I told the producer, said, yeah, I'm gonna sign. Okay. So okay, let's talk again. So we can get another conference. And this and the president was in the call this time. Super nice guy. And was, oh, so glad you're joining us, and so on and so forth.
And can I
Yeah,
add to this, Mikey, that
yeah,
why this is going on? This is also when you're kind of blowing up with Sil, right?
yeah, yeah. This is during
Uh,
Rogues Gallery and all that stuff.
you're- like you guys are making a big name over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
And Geekosity was blowing up as well. Let's not
Well,
forget.
that's right. You were how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
hits do you get a week on that?
And we were at the time of the contract signing or the contract offer, we were getting 6 million views a month. Okay, so
Damn.
yeah, so the
People would
I
die to get those hits.
oh exactly, and I became somebody, during that.
You're definitely
I'm
getting
humble.
popular,
Yeah,
making a
exactly.
name.
Making a name, and so was Kate. She's got another million followers around the time. Um, and so the producer asked me, I noticed you haven't said a word, but you want Kate Valdez as a star, don't you? And I said, Kate is everything to me, yes. And the reason why I didn't say anything that is I was gonna say something at the signing, um, but I had no leverage. What could I do? I didn't feel I had any
I
leverage.
I hear you on that because it's
Yeah,
like it's kind of you're just doing a leap of faith by
leap of
throwing
faith,
it out
like
out there.
yeah. And they said, well, we promise you, if you sign, we're gonna go get Kate. We're gonna make an offer to her, and if the it's up to her and GMA Network to accept. Okay, that's out of our hands, but we will give her the role. Okay, and I
And
said they agreed.
and were they aware of her? Like, were they
No,
did they know her acting chops or
no,
any of
no,
no?
none. Mm-mm.
So let's establish something for the listeners too.
Yeah.
Now, this company is a Singaporean-based
Well,
company.
they have an office in London and an office in Singapore.
Okay,
So both they're a UK Asian company,
it's
uh,
very international, is what
very
you're saying.
international. And as I found out in the second conference, the contract conference, that not only did that lady produce Eerie, this was a studio that released it.
So this
Like
is perfect for you.
perfect, and
This is lining up.
they had no idea. I never talked about Eerie on my Facebook. They had no idea. Okay, and so um, a small world, right? Or the destiny, or what do you want to call it? I don't know. Um,
It's something.
something,
It's
and
something. This is just like insane how it's lining up.
all lining up, and so um, everything,
108 Media is the
yeah,
name of the company. Okay.
yeah, and everything was going great, and I signed a deal, and they said, okay, our next step is to contact case management. These guys they weren't gonna waste time. They promised me that, and they were not gonna waste time. They had me contact case management about her starring in this show. Oh well, I forgot to mention this. They initially offered me a film.
Leon's in the house. What's up,
Hey
Leon?
Leon,
Cool table.
awesome. So they offered me the a film, and I said no. I would rather have the live action film, animated series, or live action series. I had those options, and I said I would like a TV series, a streaming TV series is what I asked for. Um, and I said because I don't feel that I want to earn it. I want to earn a film. Um, and I feel that a TV series can tell more of the story. And
Yeah,
so that's why
definitely. You can flesh
exactly
things
right.
out more, and yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because I had a story arc, and I just didn't feel a film would cover everything. And what if the film flops and that's it, one and done, right? Didn't want to have that going.
True.
Yeah, and so
That's a good point to take
yeah,
into consideration.
they agreed to a TV series, but my contract has options for spin-offs and it has options for um it has options for a film if it becomes a film. They have an option for it there. Um, then they're telling me that okay, so the show will be CGI. It'll have practical effects for all the stuff in there. But the president said, "How about this? I have an idea. how about we make the dream sequences when she enters a dream or enters a nightmare? We will make those anime, like not just animated with anime. I'm like,
Okay,
okay,
that
that sounds brilliant. By the way, I just said that sounds brilliant
and
because
it's good for the audience will know how to
yeah,
differentiate what's going on.
oh yeah, and they'll know it's a dream sequence. And what I love about that neck run too is that when I was writing the comic book after the option, I was thinking, well, what if it's just too expensive to pull this off? But that takes care of that problem. I can go crazy with the story, knowing that this part could be animated, right?
Yeah,
Um,
opens up the opens you up
yeah,
to basically do whatever you need to do in a
exactly.
dream sequence.
And so I did ask, so you would have to hire an anime company to do this, right? The boss goes, "No, we already bought one."
So you're working for Bruce Wayne, basically.
exactly. I thought of Bruce Wayne buying the bank, right?
Yes, that's great.
It's thinking of, and and sure enough, I looked
Oh,
it up.
fucking Andy Jones. That's a good
Uh,
friend of mine. I
oh,
like
cool.
Andy.
Um, I looked it up, Necron. Apparently, they had bought Robot Playground for like $6 million. Okay. So, yeah.
Now,
Uh,
can I ask this?
yeah.
Did they just buy it specifically for your show, or was
No,
this something?
they bought it before months before I was optioned.
Okay,
Uh, but they
so
feel that well, it's a perfect outlet to use it. Then is
yeah, put it to
you
use. There you
put it to
go.
use, right? And so, Robot Playground has done work for Disney. They were outsourced by Disney before, so this is not no small company.
There's
And
that word outsourced.
yeah, 6 million. Come on, So they will do the animated sequences. Um, just so happens, guess who's the biggest anime fan in the world? K Valdez, who collects the anime figures and stuff. And so, yeah, well, we'll get that in a minute. Anyway, um, and so I spoke with her management. And very excited about this, right? There's only one problem. I can't tell Kate. You can't tell Kate
Oh
until we
man, that's
talk to
brutal.
her about it. You have to keep it a secret. Like, oh my god, how can I keep the secret from her? And so, um,
So the star of the show has to be kept out of the loop.
kept out until the negotiation started. That's
So
policy.
everything's pretty much almost
Yeah,
ready to go.
and
Yeah.
also they don't want to tell their actors anything in case it falls apart, right? And they're let
Oh
down and stuff.
yeah, the
Yeah, so
disappointment. Yeah,
disappointment, right?
that's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so it was during this time that Sil and I were just taking off on Rose Gallery, just blowing up, right?
yeah. Like my metal people,
Yeah.
Mikey does a show with Sila Abdul is one
Uh
of
huh.
the I would say best, and
Yeah.
it's about to be one of the biggest geek news entertainment shows out there on YouTube.
Mm, yeah.
And it's already and Mikey is the king of like scoops. Don't listen to these other people. Mikey's scoops are always getting
Oh,
confirmed
that's
left
cool.
and
Thank
right.
you. That's awesome.
Yeah, what's the truth?
Well, so and then when I was doing a show with Sil, I was saying stuff like, I'm not here to play games. I'm here to win championships and
I
just getting
remember that one
started.
day.
Yeah, all of a sudden I shifted my attitude, and Sil was like, "What's going on here?"
Oh,
You
what does
can
that
tell
mean?
what's happening.
Yeah,
Is like,
yeah.
because I remember like getting off a stream with him after saying all that. He goes, "Are you that confident in Snyderverse coming back?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I was confident about Snyderverse, but it wasn't about that."
You had everybody thinking this was about Snyderverse.
I read for months, right?
I was. I was like, oh, he must be talking about the Snyderverse.
And so, you know, and I kept this a secret from Kate for about 8 months, by the way.
8 months. But
Eight
damn.
months secret, yeah. So during that time, I needed a vampire for the book, and I looked at Syl and I found my vampire. And Thibaut, the sorcerer, is based on Thibaut from Lords of the Lombox. And I found another YouTuber that I could turn into a character, and that was Syl. And I remember talking to him backstage one time. I said, "By the way, I'm going to turn you into a vampire called Silver now." He loves the idea.
This
There you
guy.
go. It's just I
Silver in
love that
action,
silver in action, and Noel
bathing
like
in the blood of betas.
yeah, Noel loved the idea of him being a vampire, and we put him in issue 2 already. Um, yeah, I love that shot.
It's
Uh,
great.
issue 2. Um, so I used him as Silver, and then all of a sudden I started meeting you guys, the cool table, and your names inspired your characters. I just felt that because I wanted an entourage of monsters. I didn't know what to do about it. I heard your name Necron. Like, oh, I gotta turn you into a villain. Like name like that,
Oh yeah,
Necron. Come on,
that just works.
yeah, a savage.
Me, a bad guy? What are we
Yeah,
talking
yeah, a
about?
savage bat and Zod. Zod looked like a private detective to me. The kind of person that would be searching for Silver, trying to prove that he's a vampire and all that.
Yeah, and
So
that makes sense. That's like
yeah,
Zod is like a good interviewer, so
that's
it
where I
makes
got it.
sense for him to be the detective type character, right?
That's exactly where I got it from. Was seeing him interviewing people. Um, and all of you just became like that's Alicia Navo became Alice.
That's
Um,
such a cool. I cannot wait to see that scene in live action.
yeah, if I could only tell you who the stunt choreographer is, but I can't say a word.
It's all shall be revealed one day.
Soon, yeah.
Oh, can I say too, when you talk about a streamer, Mikey, what type of streamers? We're not talking about like VOD and all that stuff. We're talking like a real that streaming network, I should say.
Yeah, it's a real streaming network. Yeah, no, it's not VOD. Well,
Okay,
yeah, although I would have been happy with that as well. Who has a TV show anywhere, right?
I
but
know it's not like that's like something to scoff at.
I know nothing. I mean, but do you have a TV show? But no, it's not VOD though.
Okay,
But I would have accepted that as well. Like, okay, as long as you get my show on the air, I don't care where it's at.
yeah, I'll watch it on Shutter. I don't care. Let's do this,
Well, I
But
mean, Shutter has Creep Show. How does that be embarrassed about?
nah, we're not going to get into all that. But I just noticed some certain groups of people trying to
Oh,
make
of
it
course they will. Yeah.
something, that
Yeah.
the hater verse, as we could say,
The
the people that
Haterverse. Well,
just can't never escape that universe. But anyway,
that's why I have a TV show and they're sitting on a toilet somewhere, like wondering what to do with their lives.
wondering whether down in the dumps,
Yeah,
perhaps.
John's right. You know, but all of you, you know, inspired these characters. Like Socks became Socks. With a name like that. Like I really wanted some. I wanted this weird, dark character to be the moral center of all the monsters because I felt it would make people uncomfortable. They actually like this person. So I came up with a necrophilia fetishist, and he is the moral center of all of you. And he's a lovable guy, even though he collects socks from dead people. But
That's his thing.
yeah, this thing, right?
So just so put it out there, Mikey took inspiration from the people who were in the chat of Sill Nation on Sill
Yeah.
Show, and like, hey, and as we all got to know each other more through chatting, and I guess
Yeah.
becoming friends on social media,
Yeah.
Mikey was like, hey, here's where I can pull all this stuff from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so cool.
And it just expanded from like retro nerd girl. She collects memories, and I'm like, that's a great character to have. In
Yeah.
this book, it makes it more multi-dimensional. Sky becomes this alien warrior like Darth Maul. Brings out the world builds a sci-fi element in the book. So there's a lot of different angles to take in here because Dreamwalker will spin off other series and other genres. The Silver and Blood miniseries takes place in '86, and that's definitely a crime fiction type stuff like Reservoir Dogs meets Miami Vice, but it has monsters in it, you know. And I just love the potential of having so many different genres to balance here, and
And
because I have so
well,
many
it's a
different things.
comic. to start
Yeah.
with, so you can pretty much go anywhere you want with the
Oh yeah,
comic.
anywhere,
Yeah,
anywhere, you know.
that is incredible. That you can world build this to universes,
Yeah,
build this to
yeah,
wherever
yeah,
you want to send take it. I love
yeah,
that, man.
yeah. And who knows where this leads to on the comic book? Because there's so many different angles I'm going to take with it. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do.
Now, I think we should establish, kind of just in a nutshell. Well, I don't think we did talk about what Dreamwalker, what Kate's character Kat is and what she does, and
Yeah,
like maybe we can just run through this real quick, just
sure.
so people know, who aren't familiar outside of Still Nation,
Yeah,
that what is this comic and show going to be about?
yeah. Well, the show is going to adapt issues 1 through 6. It's going to have 8 episodes, season 1. So Kat is the last survivor of a bus crash. Um, where after the accident, she discovers she has the ability to walk through people's dreams, and at the same time, she's a supernatural vlogger, and she's noticing that a lot of these Philippine monsters are coming out of the woodwork, and
Mm.
so she uses weapons that she finds in people's dreams to fight all these villains. And it turns out Tuvo, the sorcerer, is the one who's bringing them out. Um,
Oh, oh, okay. That's why there's
yeah,
that. I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but that's why
yeah,
that place is a center point. Then
yeah,
why everybody kind of converges there in issue 2.
yeah, yeah. They're starting to really come out now. Um, and so whenever she steals a weapon, she only has a limited time to use them because if the person who's dreaming of the weapon wakes up, that object is gone. Um, which I got from Spider-Man in the comic book. When he runs out of web fluid, what does he do? He has to rely on his own intelligence and strength to keep fighting. So basically, she's got to use her creativity in whether she has weapons or not. And I gave her an Achilles heel, and that was it. Was the waking up part, and that's
So
Tavo right there.
that's him coming from that
Yeah,
tree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The tree is how he's able to be immortal. He spends half of his life as a tree, and keeps him immortal that way.
How can trees go forever? That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So that's a good, you know, I think that's a good point in the too, that her weapon, it has a limited amount of time, because then, like you said, she can't always count on it. Well, like, or you
mm-hmm.
just be like pretty much, unstoppable, like in a video
Yeah,
game or something, God mode.
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. I mean, she's got to have vulnerabilities. And that's a big one right there. Like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Like, she's in the first issue, right? She was trying to find the walk walk, and then the chainsaw disappeared. You know?
Like, oh no, that's
Oh
right, because
no,
she was
exactly.
kicking ass with that
Yeah,
chainsaw.
she thinks she had it already, then she realized nope, it's limited.
Oh, I
And
want to highlight this comment. Leon is
yeah.
totally right. It is. There's nothing like this out there on the market at the moment.
Thank you, and that's very important for me to do something original.
And
Um,
that's why I believe 108 Media took a liking to
yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, the president told me that he's been trying to find an Asian Buffy for 25 years now, and they found it through me, which they found through Tom Holland.
Because you didn't want Kate to be disappointed that he was not Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah. So
Isn't that amazing?
I was talking to an insider who told me that Mikey, the story of how this came to be is more unbelievable than your comic book. Like I can believe a person can walk through someone's dreams. That I can believe your story, but my story played out on Facebook in real time.
Well, let's talk about that. Here you are, Mikey Sutton, having a stroke. What? Maybe, I don't know, 50 years old or something like that,
Yeah.
right? You're then you're on the brink of death, according to these doctors. And look what you've done to turn your life around.
No.
You Well, remember what you told us too after the stroke? It changed the wiring of your brain.
Yeah, yeah. I'm no longer analytical. I'm creative. It switched it, and which is how I was able to write the first issue as well. Like I can't review anymore, dude. I can't. It just my brain doesn't function that way. But I can come up with plots like anytime.
So
I'm
now,
like,
like your creative side's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like fired up now and
fired up.
taking
Yeah,
over.
yep,
So it's like you got out of the tragic event, something amazing came from it.
yeah, yeah.
That's pretty amazing in
Well, I have
itself.
a. Yeah, it's like I have a superhero origin, right? If you think about it that way.
Yeah, you do.
How is that?
Because that's what
Uh,
usually happens. Something tragic happens that gives them their superpower.
like how does that? How does like all this is very odd, right? Necron, I'll be right back. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so like, I always find that part amazing that Mikey, was basically, they were saying he was down for an account, and then this man said, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna pull myself up." And not only did he pull himself up, he made his basically his personal dream come true, publishing a comic. And now the comic that he published is being turned into a television show. And this guy is so cool that he pulls from the people he knows to make it all happen. And I'm sure, I don't know any other writers who make TV shows of that nature, that high up, but and he's like bringing everybody from Still Nation into the fold. Well, I can't say everybody, but I mean, people from Still Nation into the fold and making this a part of his comic is it's just like a unique thing, all these different YouTube personalities coming together, but who all like we all have different backgrounds. Like, I'm like a musician, really. I play in bands. Um, Leon, I'm not going to reveal him, but he's not a musician. Austin's, not a musician. We're all, I'm talking about the cool table. And of course, Skywalker is just banking out there in LA doing what he does, which is awesome on his own. But all these different YouTubers and obviously the main man, Sil, who basically without him, how would we all met it? Not we wouldn't have met each other if it wasn't for Sil doing his show. So this is a very unique situation that came out of this, and then Mikey just having this Dreamwalker ideal, and now look what he's able to do with it, like taking us his characters in his comic and going sci-fi with it, out different, out in space and all this stuff. I'm just amazed by how this came together. And what is the Bat Channel saying here? That bastard mailman, papow, papow. Oh, fucking Ted. Ted's a fucking cool metalhead. That's a trip, crazy shit, man. It is, man. Who would thought, right? I'm like this underground metal guy. Like, if you guys know, I fucking listen to really extreme metal. Not saying I'm the most extreme or nothing like that, but that's what I like. And look where I ended up in this. It's this amazing story, and it's all these different characters that have to come together to make it happen. But Mikey is the man for throwing it all together and making it happen. Let's see if we got any other messages. I wanted to read this one. Luckily, they were bent in the middle, kind of curve. Oh, are you talking about the comics, Leon? That sucks. Let's see what Mama Bear has to say. Leon will one day convince people to vote for him as president. He's eloquent enough to get votes across the globe. I always say it. Leon can sell ice to Eskimos. This man is just sounds very confident in what he says, and and that's the fact is he is confident in what he says, so that's why it works so well with Leon when he speaks. And he's oh shit, look who has made an appearance. It is Skywalker the Jedi. Salutes to you, sir. I know you've been busy today. Thank you for making an appearance in the chat. You want to hop on, go for it. Mikey is taking a quick break. That's why I'm over here talking away from y'all. Everybody's saying what's up to Sky. Sky has a great YouTube channel too. He is I'm going to talk about this a little more while Mikey is away. He is the creator of the hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix, and Leon came up with the other one, sell Snyderverse to Netflix, and they're doing a big trending event on Tuesday. That's right, Valentine's Day. You ain't busy enough to send out a tweet. Don't act like you're not going to get on social media. I heard some silly arguments. And on 214, we are doing a campaign to boom. Sorry, let me take your comment off, Mama Bear, so everybody can actually see this. 214, we are doing this. We're hashtagging this like crazy. Everyone do it. It only takes 2 seconds. Set up your automatic tweets if you need to, but let's get this done because there is so much going on with this campaign that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's getting more wild and better. You're going to see more awareness and engagement with it. Everybody needs to get on the freaking ball and hashtag on 214 because if you're in Still Nation, you're a big lover of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Are you back yet, Mikey?
I'm back, but unfortunately, I have to get going.
Okay,
Got some TV work, but okay. People in the arc, we're gonna reschedule our backstage meeting. Um, so Skywalker and I have a show on Monday. Sky will do the backstage then, or maybe sometime before then,
sure.
because I have some TV work to do. But Necron,
That's
let's
it.
let's let's do part because we haven't gone to the influences yet. You want
No,
to
yeah, we'll schedule a part two, man. Because
yeah.
now we got this established. So I'll relabel this video part one
Yeah,
once
part
we.
one, and this is the most I've ever spoken about the history of Dreamwalker. So this is a must
I
see video.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
the story of Dreamwalker is just as amazing as Dreamwalker itself, and I think people need to know the
yeah.
story behind it as well.
It's just been a crazy schedule of past like after the announcement. Being the executive producer of the series, just preparing everything. So a lot of stuff going on. But ARC members, I'll see you guys in the chat. Um, and then we'll
Yeah,
reschedule
Sky's
the.
going live tonight, so
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Well,
Sky
you
will
know
be
what?
on pretty
If
soon.
I can free myself this evening, Sky, I could probably make it to your show. I'm gonna get some stuff done right now. But you know how my schedule is up and down, so
Yeah,
um, but I really want to tell you guys some stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna do part two, Mikey, because
okay.
yeah, I want to talk about like us as teenagers
Oh,
and
we haven't even
comics
talked.
and music and all
Oh
that
yeah,
as
'cause we
well.
haven't talked about John Carpenter yet, and
All
George
the
Romero, all others,
all those movies that influenced us.
Dario Argento. Um,
Oh, you know what you're
yeah, I
talking
love
about.
Dario, man. Suspiria, holy shit, man.
Lucio
Anyway,
Fuscio and all those guys.
dude,
And
it's fucking awesome, man.
all
Anyway,
right,
thank you so much, Necron. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll be back, guys. You take
all
care.
right. Thank you, Mikey,
See you,
for
buddy.
coming on.
You too.
Take
Thank you.
care.
You too.
All right. Mikey is off being a producer. He has to handle his business. Hope everybody enjoyed part one because we are definitely doing part two. Okay, well, I'm glad y'all enjoyed it, man. Just me and Mikey. Now we have the history, but next time we're talking about influences and things that we enjoyed. Um, because I think me and Mikey have a lot of the same influences. Because I would love horror comics from the '80s and the 70s, all that stuff, and I think you can see that in Dreamwalker as well. So we gotta talk about it. I'm excited, but I am gonna wind it down because Sky needs to go live, and I'm done talking. Thank you, Bat Dan. I appreciate that coming from you. President of the United States. Jeez, I love the compliment. I appreciate the love. Leon, you're a great guy. That's funny, Ted. Hey, man, I'll hold Mikey's umbrella if I can catch him. I'm always saying, man, enjoy the ride. Don't push your luck. Just enjoy the ride. That's what we all need to do when you're in the Mikey verse because you just, go with the flow, have fun, man. Oh, oh yeah, dude. I did talk today. I'm gonna need some water after this. Yes, part two is gonna be freaking fire. But let's get back to that trending day 214. Now I made myself a little video, and I browsed, of course, from obviously I didn't make it, but I edited a video, I should say, and I took some video from obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League and VBS. I don't remember exactly, and I used some video from the Sell ZSJL to Netflix Hub on Twitter. They posted an amazing video. I I snuck some of it, so whoever made that video from the hub, you did a great job, and it was too good to pass up. But what I did is I used some stuff that Zack Snyder was influenced by. And if you know Zack Snyder, you know he loves Excalibur. So I used music from the soundtrack, which is actually classical music from Richard Wagner, and I believe it's Siegfried's funeral in March. But if you saw Excalibur, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. As Marcus says, I necronized it. Hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. Necronize that shit. And I think it fits, and it's all meta because of at the end of not the end, at the beginning of BVS when they're walking out with Bruce Wayne and his parents, the movie they saw was Excalibur. So Zach loves it. So I'm gonna play that as my outro tonight. I hope you guys enjoy it. Head over to Skywalker because he's gonna be popping up soon. And oh boy, does he have some things to talk about today. And if you're part of Still Nation or even just in the geek culture, a certain somebody decided to make a comment about a certain movement. And yeah, so we're gonna see Sky have a rebuttal to this if all goes as planned, but I'm pretty sure it is happening. Let me find my video for you guys. Enjoy it, and we'll see you over on Skywalker's channel. Take care, everyone.
We betray one another. But we can rebuild. We can do better.